Having issues with the with the theme song again this week, kids. It's fun. Let me try this one more time, alright?
Okay.
Alright, I don't know what's going on there. It makes me... Well, anyway, hi everybody. Welcome to the NoRights Podcast, episode 25, I believe, of Season 3. So, we're moving right along, aren't we, Ian?
Help us, we're trapped in a different dimension.
One step beyond! Anyway. So, yeah, I'm your host, Ben, and this is, of course, my good homeboy, Ian. How you doing, Ian? You doing alright?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing alright. I've kind of spent an obsessive week working on a project, and after a week on it, I was like, I think I'm good enough to step away from this for a while and work on something else obsessively till I pass out, Stayed up all night, and then, I'd been staying up kind of late working on stuff, and it's like, I'd just be working on it, and then all of a sudden it'd be like 4 in the morning. It's like, oh, I should probably get to bed. And then, next thing you know, when you're waking up in the afternoons on the weekend, and it's like, oh, hey, I should have been up, now it's like, it's already 10 o'clock at night, and it's like, I just started. So, stayed up last night to try and rectify my sleep schedule. Well, I went to bed to try and fix it, and after laying there for an hour, and that's the worst, is to be tired, but not able to fall asleep, because you're just laying there, it's like, well, this ain't happening, is it? I thought I was going to have something done, but apparently not. So, stayed up, then I slept a little bit and did some stuff with my dad, and yeah, helped him buy a tire for his motorcycle. So, that's my good deed for the day.
Sounds like a ripping good time.
I say. But yeah, I spent the week kind of obsessively working on it, because my brother mentioned this program that did this thing, and when I saw it do this kind of thing, it's like, oh, I could get to do this and that, and then I kind of just like lost the week, and I was like, I don't know what happened there, guys, but it kind of... Yeah, you've had that when a project just sweeps over you before, haven't you, Ian?
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like, it seems like it's... with everybody, when you start getting into something that's new and exciting and stuff, it's just like you just want to dive in immediately just from the start, even if you don't necessarily know what you're doing, and you just want to try to reach the limits of what it can do,
I think that's what it is it's like there's the new thing, and everyone, when they read about something, they're like, that sounds like I can do that. That doesn't sound that hard. And then when you're staying up late for like the third night in a row, you're realizing, oh wait, no, this is isn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. I probably should have slacked off a little bit, and had less expectations of, I'm going to get this done this week and it'll be great. I thought, I don't know. So, but yeah, we'll be talking about that. Huh?
No, I was gonna say, you're just gonna decide to like translate the Dead Sea Scrolls overnight. That's ain't no thing.
Well, Great Wall of China, it's like, hey, I figure a couple ancient Chinese, architects and, genius engineering and all that stuff. It's like, I can do that in a weekend, right? I can put one of those up. Anyway, so I'll be talking about that for, like, the main segment of the show, but I think we should probably start off with this week's News with Ian.
Okay, man.
The News with Ian. All right.
Well, if you didn't get it by now, it is the news with me, Ian.
All right. So, what are this week's headlines, Ian?
Okay, the breaking news. Yeah.
It's on the line. Nobody's been using telegrams since the 1950s, and okay.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't
this
there a
one-
thing like just this year where like the last telegram in India or something finally shut down? Like the last official one, so now that's only like, examples in museums or whatever?
I think something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So,
I mean,
crazy, man.
It is possible.
It had a good run. It had a good run.
Yeah, but I mean, it's then again, I mean, there is tribes that haven't seen like a white person ever, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, to be so lucky. Anyway.
Well, this one I just put it in there because it's kind of crazy, and I mean it's wrong, but it's kind of funny though at the same time. It's drunk guy arrested after impersonating a TSA agent to grope women.
Well, that seems like a well thought out plan. So, let me think now. What am I gonna do to fill up some ladies? I'm gonna dress up like the TSA guy. Not as awkward as that guy pretending to be a Marine to stay at that barracks near Buckingham Palace or whatever for like 2 years. I don't know.
Yeah.
I saw that headline. I was like, well, that tells you about how secure all the security systems in the world are.
Right. Well, I guess where the point at where he got caught was, he would take women into the private screening rooms or whatever, but he wouldn't have like another female present, which was required, I guess.
So that's how he got caught. Is that he messed up on the protocol? Not, hey, this guy smells like booze.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So,
It's like, hey, this guy smells like a martini. Let's let him interrogate people. That sounds safe. Let's do that. Am I a little hot in the cans? Am I peaking or anything, Ian? Because my headphones, like, I've got every sound comes to hear you properly. For some reason, you're at a good volume on the recordings, but to hear you properly, like, for some reason, my monitor goes up high in my ears. So, like, I'm hearing my fan behind me, my window, all this stuff. I'm sure nobody else but me can hear. So, I'm sure it mixes down better.
You sound pretty fine. I mean,
okay, I'm
it's
just
hard
curious.
to tell because you have like so many points of adjusting volume everywhere.
Well, mostly it's going to be the threshold. What is it? What's the word on the mic itself? There's that little setting, but I don't know. I'm looking at my little green dots on the Hangout, and it's coming up high. So I just want to make sure I'm not like popping in people's ears, and I don't want to do that because I hate when I hear a podcast and hear that, and it's like I don't want to be doing that. So, all right, moving along.
Okay, moving along. This next one is about how they're gonna change. You might have heard about this already, but I guess they're gonna make Captain America black, and then they're gonna turn Thor into a woman.
Oh, okay, yeah, I heard about that, a little bit about it. Now,
Yeah,
there was some talk about it where, like, I'll let you talk about the article first, because I'll tell you what I've heard after. Sorry, I just want to go in. Gung-ho about this, man.
It says Captain America's longtime allies, Sam Wilson, a.k.a. the Falcon, would be taking the adamantium shield from original Cap Steve Rogers. As of the fall, Captain America will be a man of color. So, I mean, and let me put up the article for this one, and then the other one was about the Thor. I guess they're gonna change into a woman. They didn't really have a whole lot of details. I guess they talked about it on The View or whatever, which that of course they would be all for it. But and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just it's interesting. I don't know. I mean if it's good, if they have the black actor for it, if he's good, then that's fine. I like Jamie Foxx in Spider-Man 2. I think he played it pretty good.
I don't believe they're talking about the actor. I think they're just talking about the comic book. because the movie universe
Well-
is kind of locked down. So,
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm just talking about in general. I figured, yeah, it'll probably be in the comic books too. Then, but I mean, if the movies they're pumping the movies out just like comic books, it seems like. So, I mean, eventually the movie would catch up then, wouldn't it?
no, because they don't synchronize it like that. That's too much work. Like, Spider-Man isn't Peter Parker anymore. He's a Latino kid. You know, that's never going to change in the movies because they can't do that. Movie universe for comic properties are an entirely different thing. They're their own thing.
Yeah.
Just so it would be very hard to coordinate it, and they're not going to do that. So no, in the next Avengers movie, Thor's still going to be that one dude, and Captain America's still going to be that other guy. So yeah.
Okay, then. I guess it's whatever.
It's
I
just-
mean, that's
Well, it's just comic books change stuff up all the time just because, storylines and everything. I mean, Thor at one point was a frog, from what I remember hearing. I've heard people, they're like, for a few weeks, or whatever, a few runs in the, back a while ago, he was a frog, so really, changing him into anybody else is fine. It's like, they can't do any worse. I mean, I remember the Spider-Man clone saga, and there was that whole thing with Superman, like, with that Superboy and all those other Supermen fill-in things. And that's what comic books do, man. They do all kinds of stuff. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, so you're not. I mean, you really don't read the comic books of Marvel a lot, anyways, right?
I'm not a hardcore, comic reading kind of guy. Like, if there's a good story, I'll read it. Like, that's been my approach. And it's like, as long as this is done well, like, I've heard some rumbling on Twitter about, Lady Thor, they say it's a good thing, but from the sound of it, it's like she's not actually going to be Thor, but she's going to be a creature that kind of, like a female creature that assumes, like, his power in his place kind of thing. So, kind of sounds like that whole, like, Supergirl kind of thing, where in some stories she was an alien that morphed into a Supergirl, and then others she's actually Clark Kent's cousin. Just kind of weird.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, I'm all for it. Like, whatever. Like, put whoever in the suit, and like, like, representation's a good thing, and as long as the character is good, and like, you can have multiple people playing, similar characters. Like, there's different Green Lanterns. You've got, the Jon Stewart, who's a black guy. You've got the one that Ryan Reynolds was. I cannot remember.
Deadpool?
I'm not. Huh? No. Ryan Reynolds was also Green Lantern. When he was Green Lantern, he was
you talk about
Steve Rogers. That's what it was. And there's all kinds of different characters playing the characters. So as long as it's done well, whatever, have fun with it. I mean, I doubt it'll stick around just like any other change, because when a character is known for being the one thing, like, they'll change something for, like, a few issues or a mini-series run or whatever, but, do I expect the permanent Black Captain America? Probably not. Not unless it really, really catches on, which I kind of doubt. So, I mean,
Right.
I'm just saying, like, most comic books I don't think really catch on. It's like comic book guys, like, they kind of want the same stories again and again. Like, there are some variations, but the characters kind of stay the same. Like, like, the Hulk has stayed the same, but then you get things like Planet Hulk, or like All-Star Superman, and all these things where it's like, it sounds like it's the same premise of Superman, but then there's this, elements of, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I watched that one movie. It was like the next Avengers or whatever, where it was like their children or whatever that got together to defeat Ultron, which is going to be in the, he's like that robot or whatever, the all-powerful robot, and it's going to be in the Avengers 2 movie, I guess. And Thor had like a daughter. She was like blind and stuff too, and she had his powers and stuff. So I mean, I don't know.
Well, I think he just has, like, Asgardian powers, doesn't he? And he's worthy enough to bear to wield Mjolnir. So, although She-Hulk was also, I recall She-Hulk was also supposed to be able to bear the hammer. So, I don't know. I don't know. I don't really know. Like, I'm sure there's other creatures that could lift his hammer too. I just don't know all the details. So yeah.
Well, what is
I think,
what is your opinion on she versions? I mean, instead of like changing the character into a woman, what do you think about the woman versions of them? You know, that exist along with them. I guess like Spider Woman. You know.
Well, it depends. Like, you know,
that.
if you're talking about like just gender bending stuff, like you know, like Fiona and Cake, playing Finn and Jake on, Adventure Time, like, that's a positive thing because, all about representation, man. It's like, let there be a little everybody. Like, you like to see, women characters. Yeah, I think Wonder Woman. The thing is, Wonder Woman is an awesome character, and I don't think she gets the credit or representation in the productions that she does, because, like, she's been on the cartoon, a lot and everything, but she hasn't had a movie. And it's like, we've had how many Superman movies, how many Batman movies now? Isn't it about time? She's one of those, she's, like, in that top bracket of characters, So, I think it's a good thing. Batgirl's kind of interesting, Commissioner Gordon's niece? Yeah, I really, I like some of the stuff when I like it when it's a useful character. It's not when it's not just thrown to fill a quota. Just like, if you have a character that's really great and then you decide to make them an ethnicity or, something just cuz, and it's not like that's not fleshed out or used for part of their character or anything. It's just, whatever. It's like, well, I don't know. I mean, it's still better than getting generic white guy number 573 or whatever. So I don't know. Well, it can be good.
So you like, what was her name? Alicia Silverstone then was Batgirl.
Well, I thought we acknowledged that the Schumacher movies didn't happen. Okay, we all agreed on that because I was like, when I watched the Justice League cartoon series on Netflix not too long ago, because I kind of sporadically saw some of it when it originally aired. I watched it, and they've got Zatanna, they got Black Canary. I'm like, I really like these characters. I know very little about them. I mean, they even had Solomon Grundy in there, which you don't see much representation of him in any movies or anything. So, I don't know. I'm all for seeing a lot of variety and seeing, more awesome stuff come up. So, yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
anyways,
right.
I guess we should go into the next article without branching off too much on the comic books.
And another thing, let me tell you... No, go ahead.
Well, my opinion is...
All them funny picture books. Well, some people always think that comic books are just for little kids, and, like, comic books haven't been for little kids since, like, the 70s, when the aging comic book populace was, they weren't picking up new readers, so they just really hung on to the old ones. Now there's a lot of graphic content in comics and graphic novels, And now it's like, well, we got to start trying to get young readers interested in comic books. So, I don't know.
Worst comic ever.
Worst news story ever.
Oh. Okay, this next one is about Google again. Good old Google. The giant Google. Google may turn New York City phone booths into Wi-Fi hubs.
Good. Give them something to do with them. When was the last time you used a phone booth? I mean, other than to turn into Superman in one. I don't know.
I think it was back when I was in AIP, like the earlier, like the first or second year. I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be like changing, Blockbusters into Redbox and Netflix, plays, or like internet line. Are there any internet cafes yet? Like, have they gone the way of the dinosaur now that every Starbucks has a Wi-Fi?
Yeah, I would imagine so, man.
But yeah, I support, making them useful. That sounds like a good call, I think. What do you say, Ian?
I think so. It's sort of like that discussion that we had before about, like the plan of trying to have like free Wi-Fi everywhere,
Well, that's another question. Is like these Wi-Fi hubs, are they going to be free, or is like put a quarter in for an hour of Wi-Fi, or whatever they end up doing?
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't read this article thoroughly yet, but it's they talk about the search giant Google was present at an informational meeting held in May to discuss the project. Other big name attendees include Samsung, Time Warner Cable, Cisco, and Verizon. Bloomberg reported news of the meeting attendees late last night. I would imagine that it might be where like it could be that type of thing where it charges you maybe on your account or whatever with your phone. I mean,
it just makes it a hotspot then. Is what?
Yeah, maybe, I guess. I would imagine. But, I mean, if you had, like, a tablet or whatever, I don't know how that would work if you just had, like, a Wi-Fi tablet.
Well, I mean, I'm just in favor of, having more Wi-Fi everywhere because Wi-Fi is a good thing. And you think, oh, this is great when I'm in my home and my network. As soon as you leave the house, it's like, oh, this place is dead. Oh, I must find internet now. Like a roaming thief in the night.
Well, I mean, in my personal opinion, I think that there should be some kind of, like, really minimal finite speed that maybe should be free for everyone. I mean, what would you think about that? Maybe, like, 56K or 100K or something like that? I don't know.
Well, I mean, that,
Or maybe even less.
This is the kind of thing that, like, I remember when, they switched the TVs over to the digital. And for a long time, they're like, look, this is going to happen, so we got to do it. I don't want to do it. We'll lose our, why change what works? And now it's like, now when they finally did do it, it's like, well, now everything uses it. So can we just move over to this system? Can we just have some level of Wi-Fi everywhere? Because, I mean, even when you're out and getting 3G, and then you go to a place and you don't get any bars, you can't do anything. It's like, well, this is a dead zone. It's like, why does this exist in 2014? Like, why aren't we there yet?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Crazy, man. Crazy.
Alright.
And this next article here, you've probably heard about already again. I'm not sure, but this one is about Simpsons would put the full series online. The Simpsons World. They're gonna, you're gonna have to have like some kind of cable service provider for it, though.
Now, the thing is, with stuff like that, I hear that and it's like, that's 25 years of content, but then they're like, but you have to have this, service to watch it. It's like, well, South Park has all their shows online. The Daily Show has their show online. It's like, are you really so precious now? Like, I don't know. Because, I mean, when I was setting up that media center and I was looking at playlists online, and it's like you want to find old shows that only exist on VHS tape. Oh, but some shows, like the more recent ones from the 90s, you find shows where they've got a playlist set up and you can buy each episode for like $2.99. And it's like, look, I understand the concept of like you've got your wares and you want to sell them to me, and I appreciate that. But even today, that's pretty high a price to be charging for an episode of Family Matters from 1995. It's like,
yeah.
Can we agree that? I mean, like content-wise, like I think we've been spoiled with stuff like the radio, where people, it doesn't cost anybody to tune into a radio, but so a lot of people just assume that music is free as long as you don't buy it. So some extent, it's like that concept has transferred over into other things, where it's like TV, if you have a tuner and, for the longest time, if you just had power in your house and an antenna, you could get some channels. You didn't have to pay for a service, right? And now,
right.
And it's like, so we should agree that there should be just some bottom level of content that should be available. I mean, we're already getting like, that whole concept of public domain. You get the shows that are like 70 plus years old and all this. It's like that stuff's free, and whatever people want to give away. But still, it's like, I don't know. At some point, it's like, if your show is 25 years old, who's watching that, like, season 3 of The Simpsons right now? I mean, granted, the earlier seasons were better, but I'm saying, who's, like, watching the really, really old ones, and who would be like, well, oh, sure, I'll pay $5 to watch whatever. I'll get an extra channel on my internet service or whatever I have to do to get this thing. It's like, I mean, it's the least resistance thing, where it's like, right now, there are places online where you can find The Simpsons for free, so it's like, they've got to find ways to channel that into money that doesn't just come up with, pay me for this now!
Yeah.
Charge me
I would
a lot,
also,
like that. Go ahead.
I would also argue, too, that the older ones, you said that they might be better, but since they're older, too, the quality is going to be a lot lower, too, if they're not, like, digitally remastered Blu-ray versions,
Well, I mean, it's like, when they talked about releasing that Halo collection or whatever, and, it's like, well, they're going to reskin one of the versions, but the other one is like, oh, it's pretty close to perfect as is. It's like, no, it's not. That is not Xbox One quality. You can definitely up-res that. But it's like, they're going to charge you for it again just to get it in the pack, because why do they need to change anything if you're already buying it for these other things? So, I don't know, man. Money stuff.
Yep. Well, it's just like I was saying about the Wi-Fi. I think in a lot of areas it's maybe good to maybe explore like a bottom level of things that you could get for free that would be able to benefit everybody,
Well, it's like, with Wi-Fi, phone devices, Blu-ray, there are people like us where it's just like, just a thing where it's like, oh yeah, you get a Blu-ray and pop it in the Blu-ray player, you watch this show on your internet, tablet, whatever, and it's like, there are people that are still on dial-up. Does that process still, you're like, wow, that's a whole other, there are people that don't have smartphones. It's like, my mom wouldn't have one. They're like, well, really, if you buy the phone, you can add a line and you'll only be paying, well, I mean, she wouldn't even take just a non-smartphone. It was like, I offered her to give her my old iPhone, and she's like, oh, I don't want to pay the extra for all that data, and I won't be using that much stuff anyway. It's like, all right, well, how about just a regular phone for the $9 extra a month? No, I won't have it. So, I don't know. If they want everybody to be using these kinds of products, then they have to have a nice, bare minimum of what people can get if you. Like nowadays you can get an iPhone free in your package if you, like, the sign-up plan for, like, the 8 gigabyte one or whatever it is. I don't know.
Yeah. Especially with the YouTube, I mean, it's, get everything there on free, you could get, pretty much music on there for free,
We'll talk about the YouTubes in a little bit, because I've got the...
yeah, it's patience.
Anyway.
Yes. Okay, well, moving on, this is going to sort of transition into our discussion here, a sub-discussion of the episode. This one's about Home Depot to sell the ultimate DIY hardware, 3D printers.
Oh. I was really tempted to make a really bad joke about to sell the best DIY hardware, Mexicans. I mean, no. Because it was just rolling in my head. I just, I can't help it. But forgive, I thought better of it. Like, that's offensive. But I don't really want to say it because it's such a bad joke. But yeah, DIY printers at Home Depot. So, are they selling the printers, or are they selling the services like a kiosk to print stuff for you? What's the deal? Give us the skinny.
Well, I'm curious about the kiosks, but I'm pretty sure that they're going to sell, like the 3D printers, like they're going to demonstrate. They'll have like demonstrations in the store of like the MakerBot and stuff like that. So you should be able to buy the 3D printers there. Now, as far as like a 3D printing service there, I'm not sure they might be thinking about that, like, because didn't Staples or something, didn't they want to do that? Like a while ago,
I think a number of places want to do that. I mean, Staples, they already have a print center, you know, where it's like, oh, you send your document to us and we'll print it out for you and all that stuff. You know, other places have those, and it's like, I read that a number of different companies were tempted to do the 3D printing thing, but I think Home Depot does have the best option for it because it's the most accessible. Because, I mean, you know, there's one everywhere. So, and it makes sense because they're a hardware place. Like, I assume, you know, if you're 3D printing something out, it's going to be like a case for a thing, or like some sort of fitting for a specific thing that you can't buy one, or, you know.
Yeah,
so it makes sense.
That's my my opinion on that is that's really good because, like you said, if you're looking for, you have in mind you want like a specific physical object, but you know, like it's a fitting for something, it has specific dimensions and stuff, but you know, since it's usually used for a specific purpose somewhere else, then, and you don't know about that, like if you need like a fitting or something and you could find it and it's for like automotive things, you know, you don't know a lot about cars and stuff, then you know, you sort of have to look everywhere in the store to find a physical object when you could just easily have it designed on a computer and just print out what you wanted then, you know, instead of trying to find like a specific washer or something, you know.
Well, I just imagine it being like, you know, every time you go to Home Depot, there's the guy on his cell phone, and there's the guy coming up, like, can I help you? And he's like, hold on, okay, honey, what size is it? No, how much one? Are you sure now? No, it's the blue one? No, look for the long one. Okay, hold on. Because I can just picture that guy at the printing kiosk going, okay, honey, they're printing the thing for... No, what do you mean it's not that? Hold on, stop. Can you turn that into something else? No? Oh, okay, can you just melt it down? He's melting it back down, honey. Okay. Because, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I've traveled with my dad to the hardware store, and it's like, nowadays, we've got cell phones that can take a picture of the thing, and then you can, you know, send it to somebody else, and you can find out, like, is this the hammer I need? But my dad is still, like, he has a phone that can take pictures and get them, but half the time it's like either the battery's going, or he doesn't know how to open it. It's we're not quite there yet. You know, we're in that transitional phase, technology and experience. Like I said, ordering my dad a tire online, trying to help him go, this one's cheaper on eBay, but there's no warranty, and and this one here charges more for shipping, so and then he's trying to match it up to his vehicle. It's like, oh, this one says for $19.90, mine's for $91, and I'm just sitting there, oh, are we really doing this? It's a tire. As long as the number matches, it should be fine. So,
well, I did actually have some small news about that with me. My dad, he works at a place called Momentive, and they mainly like do manufacturing with like quartz and stuff for like you know, like a lot of those quartz bowls that you'll see, like the foggy things that go over lights and stuff, or you know, they do quartz things for like electronics and stuff, you know, like the crystal things or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But they recently had a need to get a 3D printer, and so that they did end up doing that. They got like the $3,000 version of like the MakerBot thing or whatever. They could do like dual colors, I guess, and because I guess one of the main things was they needed like a cap that they cost like $300 out of a certain plastic, and then they were able to do it with the 3D printer, and it only ended up costing them $1, you know, for a custom cap.
Yeah, I mean that's awesome, but also, I mean, it depends on how many things you're going to be making. Because if you're going to make like 50 of those, that's great. But you know, $3,000 to save $290 something, you know.
Well,
I'm sure it'll help in the long run.
Yeah, in the long run, it's probably going to pay for itself. I mean, I believe they needed to print out a couple other things. I'm not exactly too sure, but it's definitely a new thing, and you know, I sort of made a deal with them a little bit that, you know, I would provide my own filament or whatever, which you can find ranging from like $20 to $40 for a color. and then they would be able to print it out. And my he's gotten pretty good with using the 3D printer, I guess. So all I really had to do is send him an email, and then he would be able to get it printed out at work, And I already got a couple things printed out for my camera lens, like a couple adapters and stuff. The first time we printed it out and tested it, I needed to. They were sort of small, so I printed them out again, and then it was the right size, but I sort of needed to adjust the tolerances a little bit on it needed to be like a millimeter bigger or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm probably gonna get just like a standard black or whatever. Right now they have like white, orange, and I think a blue color, I guess. So I was probably gonna get like a black and then maybe another color here in like a week or so, maybe.
I really wonder when this becomes like a very common thing to where like I didn't get an iPhone until the 4S, and I'm sure it was more common, but before then. So just imagine like when the MakerBot like 8 comes out and it's like, oh yeah, I got one of those. I got it in white in my kitchen. I don't know. I'm still looking forward to the replicator phase. That's gonna be great. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stupid replicator's always making my coffee too hot.
Well, I think MakerBot, they did come out with the 3D scanner for like a home 3D scanner, I guess, but it's sort of for like smaller figurine type things, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. It's all interesting. Now, just before we step away from all the all the 3D talk, have you read any articles about that lady in Japan?
I saw something about that. It's, like the printed out selfie of her vagina or something.
Well, she's an artist who she's done models with like she did some imaging of her genitalia, and she made it into a kayak, and she had a crowdsourcing funding for it, and some of the people that donated the most, she sent them the files to print out for the files from, and then she got arrested because they say it was sending obscenity, and she's like, well, look, I didn't send them photos of my junk. I sent them modeling and dimensions for it. If they want to print it out themselves, and then she was very upset about I agree with the point. Is like this is stupid. It's not like she's peddling filth to little kids, or anything. It's like these are grown adults that helped her fund to make this thing, and it's like we can. But then again, Japan, they've kind of got interesting, like how they blur out everybody's genitals in the pornography. I don't know. It's different, a little different space from here. Here where we've got what was it on the last week's trivia where it was one of the largest grossing. I don't know.
Oh yeah, pornography. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, she. I wouldn't lump her in with any of the pornographers or anything. That's the thing they want people to do. It's like she's more like that lady in Germany that made a giant vagina bike that you ride in, and then you can be born from it, kind of thing, or like those kind of things. It's like this, like it's like makes you look at human anatomy and stuff like that. Like I don't know.
It looks like an alien or something.
Well, I mean, even back in the day, like, what was it, Georgia O'Keeffe with those, paintings that they could have been flowers, but a lot of people are like, they look like lady bits, It's like, I don't know, man. It's...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
it's...
Well, I mean, you can... What's crazy, too, is, like, you see a lot of those, those flashlights or whatever that is sponsored by a particular porn star, and it's supposed to be their vagina, I guess,
Well, yeah, but how much of that is really actually, them? I'm like, it's like probably just the front, and then the inside is just, the same sleeve that they sell on every one of those. I don't know.
That's what I'm thinking too, man. Getting ripped off, man.
Who's gonna get the full, inner body scan? Like, I don't know, man. But anyway, we've stepped over into the Clone of Willy 3D printing discussion, which we've had a whole episode about that.
Actually, so. I did have one last thing. I'll email it to him as just like a service to our listeners, hopefully they're just some links to, because there's other materials that you can do for home 3D printing besides the two most popular ones right now are ABS and then PLA, which they're both plastics, but PLA is more like eco-friendly and it's like biodegradable or whatever, where ABS I guess will take like thousands of years to degrade. But there's other things like wood filament that you can get, which is like a wood pulp or something mixed with some kind of plastic, I think. And then they have like nylon, and then something called HIPS, which is a high impact polystyrene filament. And there's other, like, there's a stone textured one like called lay brick, and then they have like flexible ones which are more like rubber like and stuff, you know. I guess there's other things that you can DIY into filaments, like they have like extruders where you can like recycle your material or plastics and stuff that'll extrude it into a filament, you know. So I mean, it's interesting stuff. Like if you printed out something and it wasn't right, then you could like melt that back down in the little machine, and then it'll extrude it back on the filament for you, you know. You know, the wire, the plastic wire. So I even saw a YouTube video about a guy. He was 3D printing out at home like chocolate parts, where he melted chocolate down and then used like a syringe and like a tube or whatever, and it went through the needle.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So there's a lot you can tinker around with, you know. So I'll email that to you after the show.
All right. Well,
we can move on to the monster of an obsession you would call the media servers.
Infatuation.
My obsession.
Well, I wouldn't even call it media servers, just media centers, because it's possible that you can make a box that doesn't store anything, but it pulls in streams and stuff, and that's kind of what I was interested in, because I looked into making a media center a long time ago when I got my Mac in like 2008, and I put new hard drives into it, but it's like, hard drives are expensive, and you gotta, there's always a new one coming out, and after a while it's like, you get one, it's like, oh, I'm never going to fill this up, filled it up, there's a new one that's like twice that size, I'm never going to fill this one up, nope, filled this one up too, and I mean, it depends on, when you're sitting down to figure out what kind of media center you want to make, you really want to assess your needs, because there's multiple levels to making a media center. Do you want something that can record live TVs to make it a PVR? Do you want your own little home TiVo? Do you want something that can, storage? Do you want to have something that can store files on this huge server and access it wirelessly, that because you more than likely don't want to store on the same device that's actually hooked up to your TV. You want to have the storage where you can go out, and if you want to have to get a new hard drive and chunk it in there or pull one out, so you really need to figure out, like, do you want to do streaming stuff? Do you want to do high definition, or are you just going to stay SD? Are you going to go for like the 4K? Are you going to be one of those guys? Like, do you have a simple TV, or are you going to hook this up to just watch on your computer? Like, what are your intentions? Because that's the best idea of figuring out what you want to build, is figuring out what you want to do with it specifically.
Well, can I interject here? I'd like to say that for me, a lot of times, like for my personal collections of TV shows, I tend more or less to stay with SD, because a lot of times you're going to be fragmented trying to find everything in high definition,
Well, I mean, it all comes back
parts
to,
of the series will be HD and then parts won't,
Well, it all depends, like we've said, about where you start looking for this stuff, Like, I'm not going to go into, all the places you can go and find files, because you can find stuff on the internet. But, you can find, if you've got a PVR and you're recording it, you can record in HD, but storing it, like, if you're just storing stuff on your local computer, you're going to fill those drives up fast. Even if you have external hard drives, they tend to fill up. And the thing about external drives is they can break. Because I've got two that kind of I heard stuff rattling around in them one day, and like that's not good. And I plugged them in, and oh hey, they don't boot up. Well, guess these drives don't exist anymore. So yeah, so it's an important thing to think about.
Yeah, you were talking about. I'm sure you'll get into it a little bit more, but you were talking about that guy that had like a 14 terabyte like external NAS system, you know.
Yeah, I'll link. I've got a video showing his setup. I'll link it in a little bit, but let's real quickly talk about the different kinds of things you can have. You can have like an HTPC, home theater PCs, or you can get like a mini one or the big beefy ones if you want it to hold storage. You can get but those just look like huge bricks or sitting under a TV, and I don't really know anybody that does that.
Yeah.
Most people get a small thing and then store the stuff off-site, or away, or at least
like
away from that.
That like
just
a
on your
keyboard
hard
and mouse
drive.
jerry rig there.
Yeah, yeah. Or there's also just set-top boxes now that are because back when I first looked at this, the Apple TV was coming out, but they didn't have now we've got the Roku, the Boxy, there's a whole bunch of clones of these things. Yeah, there's a lot of different set-top boxes. They're just a black box that you plug in and you go through different things, and that's another thing is what do you want out of it? Because I had an Apple TV. I had the second generation. There's a third generation now, so mine only did, I'd say it was 720, and now the new ones do 1080, and it's all right for going connecting to my Mac and looking at stuff and playing Hulu and Netflix and stuff like that. But unless you go in and hack it to do stuff, which is kind of it's like you can either do like a hardware hack or a soft hack where you plug in a USB stick and like basically like jailbreaking your phone where you override it and put new stuff in, and you gotta fuss every time there's an update that you have to deal with turning it back and stuff. That's kind of a hassle, and I've had a Roku for watching Netflix and all kinds of different channels on that, because there's all kinds of either websites that have their own dedicated apps, or there's like another free channel where they have a bunch of public domain videos, different stuff on there. It's a nice device. It's similar to the Apple TV.
I wonder if you can record from Netflix. I wonder if anyone's done that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's people that have done it. It's just an issue with the whole I mean, if you were trying to do it like screen capture kind of thing, I'm sure they've probably got things to try and prevent it, which is, I don't know. I mean, the whole point of having Netflix is so you can just stream whatever you want. You don't actually have to have it on your system. It's like, I'm paying this much a month, so if I ever want to pull down this episode of The Wire, there it is. I don't have to have, save space on my computer for it. And, this is kind of an important point to make is, if you use a set-top box, you can build a custom HTPC, you can buy them pre-made, but, I mean, if you custom it, you can make it however you want and build out from it. If you buy a pre-built one, there's probably going to be options to add stuff, but you're kind of limited. And if you just get a standard black set-top box, it's like, well, whatever this came with, and they might send out some upgrades through online, but it's like that you can't really change some of these. Like, you can't change a cable box, It's like you just got to swap that out for a new one, and that's kind of the same thing. So, but with local storage, I was gonna talk about the most common. You and I have both talked about before with Drobo, which I
Drobos.
let me just copy the link and then open it up in my browser and then copy it back. There we go. But yeah, the Drobo, which I've heard good sponsors. People get sponsored by them, and they talk about all the different hardware they've got and how they do like RAIDs and redundant backups, and you go to their site and there's like you can get all kinds of setups for your media, but the thing is with those you still need to buy the drives, and that's kind of, I mean, I understand that they're always going to be making bigger drives, so when they release your device 2 years down the road there might be like a 4 or 6 terabyte drive that didn't exist before and you can just slide it in, but I don't know.
Well, I don't know if it could, they have those ones that are 4 slots or whatever but it says it can do a max of 16 gigabytes, so it'd be 4 times 4. but so then I guess that would mean that it couldn't support larger ones, like off the shelf or whatever. I mean, maybe you could hack them or whatever to get a larger hard drive in there.
Well, I think some people like the idea of those is that, like, you don't want to store all your data in the same place. It's just you want to have redundancies of it. So, like, you know, if one, because drives fail. That's just a fact of life. And their idea is that, okay, we have, 16 gigabytes of data or whatever. They're hot swappable, so, like, when one drive fails, it's still, your data's still there on these other drives. So, that's a good thing, I suppose, but it's like, that's a pretty big investment. That's something, like, I could see more of a business doing than a person. So, I mean...
Yeah, businesses, they have the bank, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you can afford to have several Drobos running, then you probably got a business going for it. But there's also Free NAS, which is, if you go to their site, you can buy hardware for them, kind of like Drobo, but you can also, it also has stuff for build your own, and the Free NAS itself, it's free and open source, but then also network attached storage. So, the idea is that you can set yourself up a little server room. It's kind of cool. Like, it's less hardware reliant than buying a Drobo. Like, you can build your own, so you can go price check and find, get your own system set up and have this open source thing. Versus, like, when a Drobo fails, it's like, well, you got to buy a new one.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about, like, my friend's business that I always forget it. My friend Mike, you remember when we had him on with the that expedient where you could, like, rent out specific things on a server or whatever. Like, you can, of course, you can rent out the hard drive space, or you can rent out the horsepower, like the CPU or whatever, And
well, that's more. He's renting out, like, virtual drive space and stuff like that. Which, that's a little bit different than just flat storage. I mean, it would be nice to have a service one day that's similar to Netflix and, like, Spotify and stuff, where you just pay, like, I mean, there are cloud services that are trying to do this, that are trying to back up all your stuff, like, just pay and upload all your stuff for, like, 2 days to get it up, and then it's on the cloud and it's there forever. It's like, yeah, as long as you pay, like, 50, 100 something bucks a month or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. It's not perfect. I really like the idea of being able to have your own server, but I mean, they say when you back up stuff, you want to have stuff backed up 3 places. You want to have the copy you're using, you want to have one backed up locally, and then you want to have one backed up either on the cloud or on some remote site, so if your house burns down, you don't lose all your copies of it, which makes sense. Until that day when you're trying to save a file and it's like, oh, this hard drive is full and my external hard drive is broken, and what do? I guess I'm going to have one copy.
Yeah. Well, didn't we ever have an episode where we talked about backups and, like, mirroring and, like, the hassles that could come from that?
Well, I think we've talked about general computing, but I don't know if we've had a specific episode of backing up and running RAIDs and redundancies and I mean, we've mentioned places like Carbonite and stuff like that, but I don't think we've gone too in depth about it. So,
well, I have a program called SyncBack Pro or whatever, and it can, like, it'll mirror, like, your folders, and even it could do a whole hard drive or whatever, where it'll like change. It'll copy the files depending if it's, like, has a different date or the file size is different or whatever,
Well, I mean, it depends. You can have things that do that, like you can use a time capsule for a Mac that uses Time Machine that does something similar, although it saves huge files, and it filled up one of my hard drives, like, in a couple of days, so I quit using it.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. I mean, I've backed up my hard drive before when I upgraded my OS, but the space that takes up, I've done it, like, once or twice, and I just said it's just not worth it at this point. I'll just lose everything, whatever. I don't care. Because you literally have to have double your space. Because if you're like, okay, I want to back up what I have and then move on to another, and then it's like that just needs to sit there. And if I don't go back to it, like that first few days when you have a new OS and you're afraid it's gonna die, and you're like, oh, do I have to jump back? But then like 2 years later, you're like, oh yeah, that whole hard drive of that one OS I'm not using anymore. Well, that was silly. So anyway,
do you ever think that we'll get to be where it'll get to be a point with technology where hard drive space really like isn't an issue, where it's it's like as available as air,
Well, I mean, we're still getting. The thing is, we're still trying to deal internet access like that, And
yeah,
I've discussed with my friend. We've had Kyle on the show, and I remember he and I were talking when I first got my first iPod. Like it was the iPod Color Photo thing, I think was the name of it. It was in between, like when they were calling it the color, and then the photo. And I was saying, it would be great, like, if there was a service. This is before the cloud. I was talking about, like, it'd be great if there was just a place where I could just keep my stuff and not have to store it locally. Because this hard drive, to physically store it, is getting bigger. Even now with flash drives, making, solid-state drives and everything where it's more stable and you can take up smaller space, even then, it's still a hassle to, like, I gotta fill up this local thing of, like, if I'm trying to store my library of songs, these songs exist somewhere already, like, that's what Amazon does. They, like, tag everything, and then it's like, oh, you just want to listen to this thing that we have one up here already, we'll just pull this down. We don't need to actually, use your copy of it, so... But, yeah, I think it'd be a nice thing. We're not there yet, but... We might get there sometime when we first figure out the whole Wi-Fi thing. So, but anyway, going back. Oh, yep, go ahead.
I was gonna say, well, I think that there will be a limit eventually. Like like we were talking about storing stuff in DNA or whatever. I think that eventually that'll be like the peak of what you could probably do.
No, I think we could do better than storing on DNA because it's not really efficient. It's just a cool thing to do. Like I think there's every time we think, oh, we've reached the smallest we can, like, no, we can go smaller. It's gonna who knows what the limit's gonna be, but we'll figure something out.
Or like quantum stuff, with the quantum computing.
Well, I mean, we had that short film animated with atoms. We're gonna be able to go below just DNA. It's gonna be smaller than that at some point. So. But anyway, moving on to another section on the multimedia device thing. I wanted to make sure that my system could run XBMC. Now, just a quick background on it. I played around with it back when I was experimenting with my Mac, and I was trying to figure out I had it hooked up to our plasma TV, and I was using that for a while, and I was using Front Row. And I had ITV to record, use it as a PVR, and I had different stuff. And it's like XBMC, which was originally Xbox Media Center. That's why it's got that name. It was originally designed for the Xbox for people that wanted to run it like that, and it's since been modified and it's worked on by a whole bunch of people. It's got all kinds of plugins, extensions. It's got all kinds of. It can run on a lot of crap now. It can run. You can put it on an Apple TV, you can put it on a Linux box, you can put it on an Android device.
You can put it on pretty much anything that has DLNA or whatever that's called. I'm pretty sure.
You can put it on a lot of things, and I wanted to use this one specifically though because my brother got hold of me and he told me about this program, which I'll go into greater depth later, but I'm going to mention it now. Pseudo TV Live, which is you can have your content. Your files that you've got on your computer, and, because this was the original program, Pseudo TV, which was an old program that doesn't exist anymore, or it's just not being updated anymore, where you could take your local content and it would create an electronic programming guide. So you could have channels dedicated to specifically what you wanted to watch. If you had a lot of Westerns, you could sort them by, like, Westerns with John Wayne, Westerns with this guy, or you could make up a channel of, like, if you downloaded a lot of CBS shows, you could have your own CBS, except it would react when you wanted it to. You could pause it, you could go back and watch an episode or whatever. And now with Pseudo TV Live, which is in development, you can watch streaming online content, so YouTube channels and streams, and a number of services that provide live TV feeds. So, you can put all that in.
Yes.
Are you ready? Are you done, Master Control Program from Tron?
This
But
is
yeah,
God,
we
man.
Okay, we found him on the internet, ladies and gentlemen. Who would have figured? But anyway, you can pull in all this content. So if if you wanted, like, it was appealing because I started thinking, well, I could, there's you and I. We grew up in the '80s and '90s, and there's just an era of TV that doesn't exist now. There was an era of, like, old school Nickelodeon. Remember when MTV had music videos? Remember when the History Channel wasn't running Aliens and you weren't showing
That guy with the crazy hair, dude.
yeah, there's that. There's all these reality TV down and all this stuff. It's like there's just programming that you don't see anymore. Like as an animator, I remember being a kid in the '90s and there was an animation boom, and we had Saturday morning cartoons, and that was every channel just showed cartoons till about noon. It was just all the time. You get up at 6 in the morning and you just watch every channel had cartoons on it, and they would be competing for who had the best lineup of crazy stuff. It's like they had that Free Willy cartoon where the whale talked, and they had that Beethoven cartoon where the dogs talked. And can you pick up a pattern here? And they just had a lot. They just had a lot of cartoons. You had the G.I. Joe and every variant of that. You had Silverhawks. You had every iteration. You had Transformers to sell all the toys. And it's like there was just a lot more of that kind of content being made. And now, you have your dedicated channels to running. You have things like The Hub and Boomerang and stuff like that showing older stuff. But it's like we don't have. Like if you wanted to sit and watch '80s cartoons, there's only a few of them that have been coming back out on DVD when they realize that people want to see them. Like that Sonic the Hedgehog Saturday morning. Like there were 2 Sonic the Hedgehog cartoons. There was one really goofy one, and then there was one that was kind of serious. That one, that one just came out not too long ago on DVD. And then, it's just a whole era of TV. Like remember TGIF? This is a thing. I don't know. I don't think it still exists anymore. Does it, Ian? But like when you and I were growing up, Friday nights there was a block of programming on ABC where you could watch Step by Step, Family Matters. I think was Full House originally on it. I mean, there's an assortment of shows, and it was dedicated. And with Pseudo TV Live, you can make this a channel that imitates that. You could set rules and make it and create that experience again with reruns. So,
well, I think it seems like in general, like TGIF isn't really like a thing anymore because it's like it just seems like it's just another day for most people.
Well, we've talked about it before. Now it's like TV. It's not a thing. I mean, there are shows that like TV shows are going through something of a renaissance now. You've got a lot of shows where it's like, dude, did you see the latest episode of this show? And it's like, oh man, but we don't have the communal thing where everyone sits down at this time to watch it. Because you used to have that with nowadays the Super Bowl is the only thing where you have to watch it at this time. Nowadays, everything can be time shifted and you can DVR it and watch it later, but that was the only time you got to watch that episode of Urkel till it might show up in syndication later. So,
yeah. But even then, people still DVR the football game and watch it later,
Mm-hmm. But I'm just saying now, it's like you could recreate a lot of these lost things, and especially I was thinking a lot of this stuff is on YouTube. A lot of it is on old VHS tapes. People have uploaded a video of it because you can't get it on DVD. A lot of it, it's like old MTV back when they would have anything other than the Jersey Shore and Here Comes Honey Boo. I don't know. It's just I don't know. It was a different time, and you can recreate that experience with it. So I was looking into getting that program, and my brother got an Ouya, and he wanted to try and set it up on that. And I was thinking for a long time, do I want to get one of those? What do I want? I'm like, really, I would just want something that could stream that. I don't want to, like, if you buy a set-top box now, you know, because there's a lot of black boxes that, like, oh, you can put XBMC on this, or it's already on here, but then we've also got a ton of other stuff, and you're never going to use it. You know? And it's like, I don't want to fart around with the menus to get to something that's probably going to get outdated. So, and I was thinking for a while, I was like, well, do I want to get one of those Raspberry Pis, where you can get a kit and build up a mini PC that's the size of a credit card and put what you want in it. You can buy the Pi kit for like $35, you know, put a some more HDMI cables and hard drives or whatever, and build yourself out a set. And that's if you really want to get very techie and you want to get in there and physically solder and go crazy. And I was looking at that, I was like, you know, what level do I want to pay for convenience, and what level do I want to go, no, it has to be this way, yeah. So, I was thinking about that, and I realized, I would much rather buy one that was put together, but put together, they're like $100-something. People are selling these little kits put together for like, you know, like $110.
Shit.
It's like, yeah, and it's like, no, I can buy a box cheaper than that, so... I mean, it's a cool thing. Like, if you want to try and, you know, learn how to solder, put together boxes, like you've got a kid and you want to teach him to code, because you can use it as a computer. You can use not just there are programs you can put on it to just boot it straight into the media center, or you can treat it as a computer with a desktop and everything, and do the fun of wiring. So, I'm just gonna link the Raspberry Pi site in the chat real quick. So.
Well, are you going to talk about how does it like communicate with like the content with the device? Like you said, you can like make playlists and stuff with it. Does the thing usually treat it as just like a folder of things that you could play or whatever on that channel? I don't know. Not too sure.
That's in Pseudo TV Live. That's something I'll be talking about real quick. I just wanted to get the mentioning of Raspberry Pi, because I trust me, I like the Pi. I think it's a cool device, and if I had the time or the patience, like when I was a kid, I helped put together a phone with, we got a build your own phone kit. We made one. It had a little cardboard shell and everything. It was like, this is a fun little project that you get Radio Shack for the weekends. Like that, I don't know how many people have the patience to do something like that, and this is, like, I can imagine building something like that if you really wanted to, like, I just need this for the basis, and then I'm going to get 1,000 drives for it, and
yeah.
I don't know, it's an interesting project, but I ultimately decided to go with an Ouya for a number of reasons. Mostly, I mean, the biggest reason was my brother already had one, so he and I can kind of bounce ideas off each other, like, hey, I got this program to work, oh, you should check this one out, I got, So we've been doing that. We've been texting each other back and forth going, oh, I got this to work, and I didn't get that. Oh, don't do this. This, okay. So we can, there's that. And plus, it's also a game console, and it's kind of, like, the way the Ouya has been, it came out, like, 2013, so it's about a year old now. And, it was in the fundraising in 2012, and I think it finally came out in 2013. Yeah. And it's been out for a while, and they kind of, like, When I bought mine, I went to Target and they actually had them sitting on the shelves because my brother was trying to find one at Best Buy and they didn't have it, and so he just ordered it online. And I went to Target and there it was. I was just looking and I was like, oh, there's some stuff for hooking up to your iPhone, and then and there's some Ouyas right there. So I got it, yeah. And you open the package and there's this little plastic sleeve and it says, and so the revolution begins, or some slogan like that, and I'm like, okay. I understand what you guys are going for. You want to be a unique gaming console that's not an Xbox, it's not a PlayStation, and you can make your own stuff and sell it in a store, and you can put it's kind of almost pro-hackish, like basically the maker level of hack, it's like not cracking kind of guys, but like hacking it. The guys who like to build stuff and tweak and whatnot and tinker. And
Hack-a-day.
Yeah, and it's like, I understand the idea of that, but when I got the Ouya and I started it up and I tried to maneuver around it, I was like, wow, this is kind of clunky. I mean, some of the stuff is kind of cool. Like, the controller has a touch strip in the middle, where So like you peel the faceplates off to put some AA batteries in it, put them back on, and then you've got the D-pad and the little joysticks and the buttons, and then you've got a touch strip in the middle, which is sometimes like if you want to use it for like a mouse and just move things over and back and forth, that's okay. But if you need to try and double click or tap something with it, it's a little not very responsive. So I'm just kind of stabbing my finger into it, go read, and I don't know. It's a controller. What do you want, right? So it actually comes with I believe you need to download it from their app store, but they have their own version of XBMC. I'm going to be enunciating now because I'm used to writing it, but they've got their own version of it in their store. But it's free, of course, but it's on the website for XBMC. They say it's got a few audio codec issues, although it does have a hardware. Video decoding, I think it said, but it's got some bugginess. So just download. They just recommend just get the official XBMC one that we've got. If you really want to make it a dedicated, streaming media server, actually just get this. So I did and put it on there, and it's fine. Let me just scroll down my notes here. So. Yeah, it's for $99, it's it's a little box, like not even like a set-top box. It's literally it fits in the palm of your hand, but it's kind of got a weird top kind of shape. It's like a little cube. So I don't know, for that, and it's it loads Android games and also apps. So it's basically a little mini Android thing. It's kind of like if you took an Android tablet and just put it into a set-top box. So you can put stuff on it and tinker with it. And my reaction to it was basically this is nice and everything, but their app store leaves a lot to be desired, and especially since they don't have the Google Play Store or anything on there, you have to load. No, they don't. They have their own app store, which is mostly games, and all the games there's a free version, and then there's the pay version. So you can play for a little while free. Each one, it's they had a file system navigator app, so I downloaded that, and it's really only useful for navigating files within that file system navigator app. It doesn't actually, it didn't actually let me look into the folders that I wanted to, so I went and downloaded another program, which I'll link in the chat now because let me see. I'm skipping around on my notes because I was a little rusty in writing notes because we haven't used notes for a number of episodes. So I was like, I know I want to structure these, but I don't know what order I want this to go in because I've kind of got so much stuff in my head that I've been keeping straight, and now it's I want to mention this, and I want to mention that. So, but yeah, I downloaded this program.
Real quick,
yes.
What do you think about the controller design? Since you're talking about the design of the box itself.
Well, I agree with basically.
Cheap?
I agree with every review of it I've seen so far, which is it feels kind of cheap and plasticky, and it's a little. For my hands are kind of small for a dude, so I hold it in my hand. It's this is a kind of a wide controller, but the buttons are very especially the top buttons. People complain about how cheap and clackety they are. It's I don't really use. I haven't used those yet because I haven't played any games on it. The D-pad is kind of square, but it's functional. At least it's a little pointy. When I took the package, they had the plastic on the shiny bits, and they actually had a little piece of plastic in the shape of the X on the D-pad, and I had to take my fingernail and dig around to pull one end off of it. Why did they do this? Were they just trying to piss me off when I was unwrapping this? I don't. But it's functional. It feels basically like it. I wouldn't really notice much difference between that and say an Xbox controller, or it's different than a PS3 controller because the thumbsticks are kind of weird. I've watched the Ben Heck show.
A PS4 controller?
Yeah, you can. It's just a Bluetooth thing.
With it.
Yeah, well, you can use. I don't know. I haven't used my PS3 controller with it. I've just used the controller because it turns the box on. So why not? I have used my iPhone. You can get an app for the XBMC and run. As long as you connect it to that install of XBMC, then you can just control it with that. So, I don't know. It's like my thing is I'm holding the controller anyway when I power the thing up because it recognizes the controller more so than if you just hit the thing. You do everything through the controller, which is a little, I don't know. We're entering stuff through a controller is not the easiest. Like when I was trying to find apps, like I linked that File Explorer app that I used, and I also installed Chrome on there because they have a browser on there, but it is like bare bones. It reminds me of like Opera a little bit, at least the versions I've tried, which there's not a lot there. It's a little confusing. So my brother found One Mobile Marketplace, which you just go to the website in your browser in the Ouya, and then it'll download the Marketplace app, and then you can use that to download other apps. So that way you don't have to worry about trying to find a copy of an app that's not malware and crap. Like when I got that File Explorer, I did that on my own. My brother found the Marketplace, and I haven't. I had to find this on my own. And I went to that direct site because I saw a video. They're like, go to this site and download it. I'm like, all right. I go to that site, and they have a huge ad on there for their stuff that they make that literally pushes everything to the bottom below the fold on the screen, and you can't navigate past it because the way it navigates elements on the screen in the browser I was using. I'm like, how am I supposed to download this? I literally cannot get to. So, and I looked around. If you try and open a Google Play Store link without having the Google Play Store installed, they're like, well, you don't have a device, so you must add a device to your account before we can give you a thing. And oh, you don't have any devices. And I'm like, no, I'm on my device right now. Google, what's going on? And yeah, it was quite an experience that first day of trying to figure this stuff out. And when I finally got that File Explorer, it was kind of weird because I never used that thing before, and I never went into the Android file folders to find the plugin I was looking for and all that stuff. But I knew from doing it on my Mac exactly. I figured where it was, and I found it in like 2 minutes. And I'd been up like all night, so it was like 1 or 2 in the morning when I was doing it. And it's like, I don't know how I can zone in and do this, but I'm doing it. So
yeah,
I don't know. It was some crazy stuff. But
well,
getting back to
go
ahead.
I was gonna ask. I mean, you're probably gonna get into this a little bit, but so how does the pseudo TV software, how does that communicate with the media server? I mean, you said it works with the Xbox media server. Is that it only works with that then, or?
Well, the XBMC that's the media. That's the front end. Like you store your files wherever, and you have that to manage them. It's like I want to play this movie or go down my playlists of stuff that I have on my local drive or stored here, and you can add sources of content. I've added, I'm file sharing what I've got on my computer with it through SMB, which was a little buggy on the Mac connecting to it's looking for a Windows thing. I mean, it has XBMC has a lot of ways to add content, and it supports a lot of stuff, but it's still a little buggy, and I couldn't tell if it was my computer being buggy or just the Ouya being buggy, because when I tried to connect it to my network right out of the box, I tried to enter my password in like 8 times, and trying to type that in with the controller it drove me into the insanity. And I finally just removed the password on my Wi-Fi for a little bit and let it upgrade, and then I went and changed it again. That was fine. When I tried to install that the XBMC, that version of it, I went to their website and they said, point to this link, and type this into your. I'm like, wow, really? You want me to enter in this huge URL with this controller? And I did, but I screwed it. I did, but I screwed it up. Well, it was a lot of dot, and every time you need to go to a period, you need to change the keyboard screen, and then it was a lot of ridiculous stuff.
Symbols.
And I went to the thing, and I messed it up one time, and it sent me to a thing where somebody was trying to sell. Oh, your Android device is infected with a virus. Go to our site to get it. I'm like, yeah, right. Yeah, I believe that. The first time I ever loaded anything on this, and you're gonna try and tell me something? No. So, I later found that there was a bit.ly link for it, but it was this huge long URL. I'm like, really? This is the page that you want me to go to on my Android device? Are you just assuming that I have a phone that has a nice keyboard and I can just wiggle my thumb at it? Because working the controller, it was good to be, I know controllers enough that I didn't have to look at it to press anything most of the time. I could just, muscle memory. But still, that's a lot of left, right, hold on, left, right. And the D-pad has a little bit of a kick to it, where if you let off of it wrong, it'll jump to the left or the right. So every once in a while it would pick the wrong letter, and if I hit the backspace button, it would just back me out of the enter menu, and I would have to start the whole thing over. So that was a fun time. Yeah, that was a fun first couple of days with it. I don't know, but yeah, I like I've said, I installed Chrome, I installed that file manager, that version of XBMC. Now, sudo TV Live. I'm gonna share the link with you to the forum thread by the guy who runs it. Doop.
Now, is this thing updated all the time?
What? He's still working on it now. Yeah, he's doing stuff because he's got people donating and he's doing special donor features. He's
oh, okay.
He's keeping up on it. And it's got, let's see, what are my notes saying? You can pull in your local content, your streaming sources, live TV if you have a tuner for it, and he's working on adding more features with that. And it makes an electronic program guide where you set up the programming guide, and if you want, I realized, he's like, if you want to add either internet streams, so if you have a Justin TV channel that you really want to load, or if you can URL snoop out where a stream file is for something that you really like, or other plugins on XBMC, it'll let you add those. You can set them to your favorites and then add those through that. It's a little complicated. I don't know I haven't fussed with it myself. My brother's been looking into it with his setup, but you can add a lot of content that connects with other plugins. And
I was gonna ask real quick, I wonder if he's considering doing the equivalent of a pseudo radio or something for audio. That would be interesting.
I don't know. I mean, people want to watch their TV a little bit more than audio.
Yeah.
I mean, you can make your own, you can make a playlist and play it. That's not, that impressive. But an electronic programming guide where you can have your own, your own Discovery Channel, your own Nickelodeon, your own Cartoon Network, And I set it up, and the first time, when I got it working on the Ouya, I set it up and I turned on the auto-tuning, which is something I hadn't configured much on my Mac install on my home computer. It will auto-tune. If you can tick all kinds of options you want, go through my library, my custom playlist that that I might have set up. Go through, if I have live TV, go through YouTube channels. Go through. It also had go through shared recommendations. So if people have YouTube channel recommendations that they want you to add and stuff like that. My brother did it. He said he's like, I did, all of a sudden I had 108 channels that auto-tune for me. I usually got 60 something. I ticked the thing where it said add the only thing I didn't tick was sports. I basically told put the little kid shows on there because I might find a good cartoon channel to watch or something, and it auto-tuned 65 channels, and it had a late night channel where it just had Team Coco and Jimmy Kimmel and 3 or 4 other YouTube channels of late night shows and musical performances. But my problem is I really like Conan O'Brien, but I didn't really care for the other ones. So I would just kind of skip past them and go right to that video, and after a while I watched the only ones on there. So
Jay Leno YouTube channel.
well, you could make a channel all about one. Like the thing was, if you want to make like YouTube and like just in TV streams and other kinds of things like that, you really want to be working with the XML files. And in that forum thread, he has 3 posts. He has one where he talks about what it is and how to set it up, and then he has one where it's all about adding content. So he's like, if you want to add streams to your thing, if you want to add YouTube playlists or channels, like if you want to add a channel for a particular person who's going to be uploading videos all the time that you want to check out, great. You can make a channel of that. And he also linked to a really good guide, Milkman's Guide to the Ultimate Media System, which I'll link to the thread for you. And I'll also link to the there's a PDF of it. Oh, double clicked it. Because he included, like, that thread, he had a PDF file. He also had the logos, like examples of logos you can use on your channel if you want to make your channel look like, if you're watching if you made your own CBS channel, you want to have the logo pop up. And you can tick a little box in your channel setup, like if the video has the logo already encoded in your videos, don't display the logo. But if it doesn't, pop it on there so you really feel immersed. And you can also add channel bumpers and commercials. And you can have a folder of the files of the bumpers you have to make it feel like you're watching live TV and commercials. Like if you've got a retro channel, you can have retro commercials from the 80s and 90s, like drink the surge and do the do, or just,
Yes.
you can get those.
That's
from,
cool. You can have
download those
icons and stuff,
Yeah,
cool.
which is nice because in the channel listing you can see the icon on the EPG, and then it'll load it into the corner of the screen too. So it's nice. It lets you know what you're watching. Let me see. I'm looking through my notes real quick. Oh yeah, I'm also going to link
What kind of
the
image
YouTube
formats
video.
does that support, by the way? I was wondering.
For the
like-
icon, it does PNG is what they recommend. I don't know what it supports though.
Oh,
But,
so
I mean,
you can
that's
do
the
like transparency
easiest one.
and stuff then?
Yeah, because that's what I did for a lot of my channels. Is I would do like a little round logo or something, and I would center it,
Right.
But this is the YouTube link for that guy. This guy, I believe he's only running the Pseudo TV. It's not the live. It's not the current one now, the Pseudo TV Live, which is maintained by a different guy. But it's a very similar thing where you create channels based on stuff, and he's running a 14 terabyte server. He's got a channel dedicated to just The Simpsons. He's got BBC One, BBC Two. He's got he's got a whole bunch of different channels of and then you can there's different ways to organize your stuff. Like if you're doing local shows and you want to do, like if you got a whole folder full of different kinds of movies, you can have channels set to just be an action movie channel, and then you can have a channel just action movies from the 80s to 90s, and just movies that were and then you could set to like more recent movies like 2011 onward and whatnot. You can set custom playlists outside of the channel configure. So like you can have a playlist that's just, hey, put all my movies of this and label them this and this in this playlist, and then use that playlist to build the channel. Or you could also build it in, there's the channel configure tool in there, which is a little buggy, I'm going to say right now, because the only way to add YouTube channels right now is to go into the XML and use the example that he has and then enter your information, which, when you're working with a live document like an XML file, it can get a little confusing. And the channel configure tool, the problem with working with a controller is that you back out of menus very easily, but you can say, okay, save my changes to this file, and then you press the back out button instead of clicking OK, and it didn't save those. Or you would load another channel and you load another channel and it would look like it would have other rules, because you can set rules is what it is. You can say, at this time I want you to play this show. Or you can tell it to interweave channels. Like say you have a channel that's all cartoons. You can tell the channel that's regular daytime TV, hey, interweave they call it interleaving. interleave the cartoon channel so that every, say, 1 to 5 programs, there's a cartoon, thrown in. So it's a little bit more randomized, and you can have different channels built up, and you can even tell it to not display the channels in the guide, so that you can have a whole bunch of channels that are just content that interleave with other channels. So it's a little confusing to think about, until you're actually in the thick of it.
Jeez, man,
Do it.
I'd be willing to bet $1 million that this guy doesn't. He probably got rid of his real cable a long time ago, huh?
Well, he likes the idea of getting rid of it because other people getting rid of their cable. It means good business for him because people donate, and he has a few extra donor features and whatnot. It's it's an interesting program, and I like the idea of it. And you can see how I got sucked into the idea of, like, I can build a thing that not only, it pulls all my media channels, like I watched a number of Let's Players on the Yogscast. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're a bunch of mostly UK players. A few of them are from the US, but they play online. They all have their own YouTube channels, and I decided I was going to try and bring in each one of their channels, and then have one channel that just interleaved all of them. So, like, you tune into that channel, and you could be getting, there'd be Lewis and Simon, then there'd be Sips, and there'd be Shin, and then there'd be a Hannah video, and and like that took a little bit of setting up to do. But stuff like that. The Cinemassacre guy, the guy who does the Angry Video Game Nerd and a bunch of other things. I gave him a channel. A couple of other people. Like, I wanted to make an MTV channel. Where you had a lot of old MTV news segments and then Beavis and Butthead clips thrown out. Now, this brings the conversation along to a thing I'd like to discuss. The whole copyrighted content on YouTube situation. Like, I agree that I'd like the idea that I should be paying for content, but on the other hand, there are shows that were made in the 80s that have never come out on DVD, that people put them up on, like, I made a channel for MST3K. They have their shows on DVD, but they also, at the end of each episode, like, they'd have a thing, keep trading the tapes, and you can find people that will just be streaming Mystery Science Theater 3000 episodes, It's like, it's out there. You can very easily get yourself a full content library of those shows. So,
what are you talking about, Ben? I don't put anything illegal on YouTube.
That's the thing. It's a matter of, legalities. Like, if you, like, I mean, if Netflix or Hulu, like, if one service could literally, like, if Amazon's new service could literally just play. Like, if I said, hey, I want to watch an episode of Perfect Strangers, and it would just give me that. And if I say, hey, I want to watch an episode of that 80s sitcom Out of This World, it could just give me that. If I could just pay a service to do that and not have to be nickeled and dimed on it, that would be great. But I don't want to have to, every time I want to watch an episode of a show, because shows, unlike movies, like, I could understand if I wanted to watch a full movie, something like that. But, like, TV shows that were run in syndication, where it's just like, whatever. I mean, there's that big discussion now with, there was a Supreme Court case recently where they had that service they would take over the air channels that were being broadcast for free and then stream them on the internet for people that paid, and they were saying, you can't do that. We're gonna have to if you do that, we're gonna have to shut down these free services. And then the Supreme Court was like, oh, this is jumping, like, they had to be very careful with how they were, but, like, yeah, this is kind of stepping over copyright bounds, because you're charging for content that they give away for free, and therefore you're impeding them from making money. So, right. I don't know. It's a very gray area right now, where it's like, there's a lot of content out there, and there's a lot of people that want to make money off of content, and there's a lot of people that just want to be able to view the content. You know, like I said, path of least resistance. It's like there are people that would want to watch a show, and there are ways that people would say, "Oh, I would very easily give money to watch this show if I could find it, but I can't. So instead, I will take the easiest way to just pirate it because it's easier that way." And if they would, you know, it's like
Thanks,
if they
Ben,
get
for
out of their
that
own way.
4K.
What?
Ben, thanks for that 4K YouTube downloader.
Anyway. So, but yeah, that's the whole YouTube channel thing. I mean, adding YouTube channels, you know, like I said, like adding just, you know, Let's Players and people like that, their content, you know, getting that to run, it's like you had to fuss with the XML, but it was worth it in the end. I basically, what I did was I had my desktop computer set up, I set up all the channels on that, I exported the XML file and emailed it to myself, went over to the Ouya, downloaded it, went with that file explorer and put it in there, and then I went to sudo TV and inside XBMC, XBMC, yeah, okay, I'm getting confused here with the letters. I went into that, told it, build a new channel. Now, when I restart it, and build a new channel guide when I start it, and it did, and it cycled through everything. So all the channels got built up and it's proper. So
I think it's funny you had to email yourself to yourself.
yeah.
Did you leave yourself a message on the voice machine too? Hi, Ben.
No. My brother was talking about. My brother was talking about using Dropbox to do it, and I was like, I was looking into that, but I mean, I would have to set it up so it would just share the drive, because if you want to, like, I was gonna just, you know, copy the file and go to the public Dropbox link for it, but it was another one of those huge long things where it's like, I'm not entering this with a controller. I'm just not. So, I mean, I'm sure now if I could get the app running, it would probably be easier. I don't know. Now sharing, as long as I'm talking about sharing real quick, sharing the local files on your computer, if you're on a Mac, you know, the easiest way is just like share a folder, right? You know, you set the thing up to share a folder on the network, and I was having issues on you know, getting it to recognize. I would like it's supposed to in Mac. It's supposed to be in mine where you tick a box to start sharing files, and that's all you're supposed to do. And it's supposed to be able to do it through the Apple way and the Windows way, except neither of them worked. And I tried a number of different things until finally I found a link to this app where they just said, just use this because it's recognized by XBMC, and you just do it. And I did, and it locked it on, and there it goes. That's all I needed to do. I mean, occasionally I need to reset it if I drop some new files in there, and I need to make sure they go. But other than that I just recommend this to any people on a Mac right now that are thinking about doing this. And as long as I'm recommending,
well,
things,
I guess the big question though, Ben, is so do you have any channels set up yet for yourself?
Yeah, I've got an old school Nickelodeon channel set up right now. I've got an old school MTV channel set up. I've got a channel that's going to be a late night black and white anime cartoon channel, because there was that show on Cartoon Network a long time ago called Late Night Black and White. Right now it's just old Popeye videos. Yeah, I found a bunch of... The thing is with YouTube is, if you find playlists, sometimes, like, you find a playlist of a show and you're like, oh, this is going to be great. Oh, no, wait, this is dubbed over in some foreign language. Oh, that's great. Oh, hey, this is you know, put through some horrible filter so it got past the content detector, and now it looks like crap, and I don't want to watch this. You know, there's all kinds of variants with it. I don't know.
I was curious. Can you specify, like, what are those things where it's like a to be continued or whatever? Because I hate it when they have like a to be continued episode on TV and then it just goes to a random episode like later or earlier in the season, you know.
What you can set up in the channel rules to play episodes straight through. So, like start episode 1 and go all the way through. You can set how the channel works time-wise too, because the way it's set up by default is when you add a channel and you flip to it, that channel is constantly running. So you can flip to it and then jump to another channel, watch something for a little while, then jump back and you're later in that episode. But if, say, you want to have an episode dedicated to the latest show that you're watching, you can have it set so that it pauses every time you're not watching it, so it only goes as far as you're watching it, and it won't skip. Now, my concern was if you're adding YouTube content, some people add shows in parts, and that's questionable, especially if you're, if you want to interleave channels. What do you do there? It's like, because if each episode is a chunk, that's fine. But if it's like each episode is 3 chunks or an unknown number of chunks that are 10 minutes each, it's like, what do you do if you're interweaving channels? All of a sudden, you've got, like, what are you gonna do if there's interweaving chunks and then there's like 2-part and then there's something else entirely and then the 3rd part comes in? It's like, well, I don't know what I'm watching. So
yeah.
That's where things like watching MTV work a little bit better, because if you just pop in a music video playlist, you can jump back and forth, with that. It's a little bit more understandable than if you're trying to watch a show and got to deal with parts of it. Now, as long as I'm talking about YouTube real quick, let me talk about 2 sites that I used to try and wrangle my playlist, which I still need to do a better job with, because originally I was going to just make playlists for each show I was going to add, and then make those each into channels, and then interleave them into the channels I wanted. But the channel configuration screen was so wonky at the time that I just ended up dumping a lot of the playlists into each other. Like, if I had a basic MTV playlist that had, MTV news and then, some other interview segments and live concert stuff, and like, here we are at Woodstock 2, that stuff. And then I was going to have playlists of, like, Beavis and Butthead clips and stuff like that. And the problem is, if you want to try and interleave a channel, it's like you got to keep track of what those are, because when you're in the configuration of the MTV channel, you have to go, okay, pull from this Beavis and Butthead playlist, pull from this playlist, pull from this one, and then you have to enter in, the channel number, and then the maximum and the minimum number of, interleaving. So, like, do you want it to be every episode, or every two episodes it's this thing, or a random number in between? It got really confusing. So, but anyway, YouTube does not have really easy ways to control your playlists, because go figure, they don't want people hoarding a lot of content. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
yeah.
like, you can't really merge playlists too well. So I found this site that handles, you can take 2 playlists and merge them into one, except I realized after a while of using it, oh hey, they use a token system, so that every clip you put into a move around on a playlist ticks down on your tokens. And if you want to add new tokens, well, you can get 200 for sharing on each social media, or you can buy them 1,000 for $2 each. 1,000 tokens for $2, and it's like, yeah, no, I'm not paying to use your third party. Yeah, like, I'm sorry, no, don't do that to me. And then I use it for a little bit, and then I kind of, like, until my tokens ran out, and I said, well, that was nice while it lasted, I suppose. I also found this free site where you can copy somebody else's playlist onto your account. So, like, if somebody has a nice list of videos, because you want to be able to have your own collection of playlists, because when you're typing up this XML file and all these links are in the format that they need to be entered into this plugin, you don't know what they are. And when they're all from your own account, it's a lot easier, because then you can just hit your playlist tab and it's like, okay, there's this, this, and this. So, I don't know.
Right. I just think that's funny. They try to scam you. Scam school.
Well, I mean, they're just trying to make their no, but it's like they're just trying to make their money doing their service. It's just, I didn't know, guys. I'm not paying you to do something, even if it's a nice feature. It's like I'm not being nickel and dime because if I'm giving anybody money, I'm going to be paying to buy a show. You know, like I would, you know, I don't know, man.
Yeah, pay for content, not like to merge like a playlist to do like something technical, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand the idea of like if you got like 100 plus clips on a thing you want to merge, but at the end of the day, it's like I'm not buying tokens. I'm not being nickel and dime. That's my main issue with all of this. Is like, you know, I don't want to be nickel and dimed. If there was a service that did what I wanted and charged a reasonable price, alright. But then sometimes it's like, oh, we'll do what you want, but then if you want to do this other feature, you have to pay a little bit more. Like, no. You know.
Or you update your software and then you must pay now.
Yeah, I just... so, what are your thoughts, Ian? Like, I've been talking, my throat's getting a little dry. I'm gonna let you...
Well, I mean, it seems like it's pretty cool, you know. Like I said, it would totally replace your TV, your cable, you know. Another good thing is that it's always updated, you know. Like you said, like guy's pretty active in the development, which a lot of times it can make you want to switch to something currently has less features than like another program that you're using, but it's a hell of a lot more active, you know. So it's a lot, especially if it's like, you know, like if it's community driven and it's open source and stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah.
There's a lot of potential for it, you know. It'll make you switch even if it's still in its infancy, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I've used programs that are really old and not being updated, but it's like they do something that nobody's doing yet, and it's like, you know, until it breaks and you literally can't use it anymore, you know. But it's like when there's something that somebody is actively making and adding features to, because, you know, there's all kinds of good content. I mean, the thing about using Pseudo TV Live and the way he's trying to work it is that there's a lot of plugins that you can use. You know, I was tempted to mention Fusion and link that, where it's a thing where you can add a whole bunch of third-party plugins. But the people that make XBMC, they recommend not using it because it can cause your things to crash and, you know, have all kinds of questionable issues. And plus, people kind of confuse the people that make that with them. And it's like, that's not officially, you know, supported by us. We don't, you know. And I don't know. It's easy to add. Like, there are all kinds of, like I said, there's all kinds of plugins you can use. They've got their own repository for official plugins that are supported and all this thing, you know, and Pseudo TV Live can pull from some plugins, and I'm hopefully they're going to be adding more. Is all I can say with that.
Well, so out of all the plugins, though, what are some of the main ones that are pretty cool? And do they add new features, or they just enable more codecs, like file types and stuff like that, or is it like a lot of boring plugins?
It depends on what you want to use. I mean, the thing is, like, the Ouya is designed for playing a lot of video games and emulators and ROMs. Like, that's what a lot of people use it for. And, you know,
right.
XBMC, I believe I don't know if they do ROM stuff or not. My brother's the you know, retro gamer guy in the family. I play a few, but it's like I got other stuff to do.
Well, I think it could do some kind of, because I remember playing like the old Mario or whatever, the original Mario game from Nintendo, but it was like, it had to be like a Java-based game or something like that you had shared on your network. I forget.
Yeah, I think there are probably plugins for that. There's plugins to add all kinds of features. I'm sure if you want something, you can figure something. There's a place for it, you know. And that's why I went with this platform, is that it's open and that there's all kinds of active development for it, you know, as opposed to there's plenty of media centers that don't exist now. Like I don't think Front Row's around anymore. I don't know.
Right. Well, that's why I switched, because my main text editor for coding and stuff, I was using a program called PSPad, which it's open source, but it's not like the feature set on it. It's pretty advanced, but it's not always like updated and stuff, so you can't. It didn't seem like they listened to the community a whole lot on there, so that's why I sort of switched to Notepad++. It was always like an update. It seemed like multiple times a week or whatever, you know, and it's they always take like feature requests. A lot of times they'll listen to people, you know. Sometimes they'll listen to it, even if it's like a couple of people that just say, "I want this in there," you know.
Guess
they'll
what?
be
We've
like,
added
"Okay."
this now. So yeah, I like the idea of pseudo TV Live and all the stuff you can potentially do with it. Because I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna sit and go and download huge amounts of TV shows and whatnot to watch them once. If there's a thing that's on, you know, if there's a YouTube channel where somebody's pulling down the latest episodes of a show for a channel that I don't have or that I missed, it's like I'll watch it. You know, is there anything wrong with that? If it's being put out there and it's in the ether, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Well, I mean, generally speaking, though, I mean, what do you think is the nice thing about like having different channels and stuff? I mean, even if you have all the original content and seasons organized and stuff, do you think it's like the randomness, just having a random show played here and there on like a specific type of channel?
Well,
do you think that's always nice to have once in a while?
Well, I mean, it depends. Like, if you're making, like, a TGIF channel and you want to recreate that moment of, like, hey, there's this time of night where we sit and watch it, it's like, you know, there's not that shared, you know, experience where everybody talks about it. Like, hey, last night, did you watch that episode? Yeah, I saw it. And there's that. And then also, there's just something about, like, hey, it's going to be playing all this time regardless of if you're tuning in or not. So, you know, like a lot of the nice thing about it is when I'm flipping through the programming guide and I see a show that, like, hey, that sounds like an interesting episode. I can tick back with the D-pad and start the episode. So it's like having a DVR that I can step back in time and forward in time with. If I don't like it, if like I'm on a channel I want to find something to watch, I can skip through, and rather than having to wait until something is on, I can tell it start this now, and it will play it.
Yeah.
So it's nice that way.
Well, yeah. Well, since you were saying everybody watching it, like having like a TGIF, is it possible to share like your public streams and stuff, or like have a public stream or whatever so everybody can tune in or whatever?
I don't know. I mean, I know you can share libraries, and there's different stuff. I'm sure, like, you can program in channels that are live streams. So, like, you know, if there's like a Justin TV channel, like if they're doing a feed of something you want to watch, you can program it in and watch it just like with everybody else. You know, I don't know.
Right.
I mean, I
like
think
what if I want to tune into Ben's MTV? You know, that'd be pretty cool. You know.
well, you know, I mean, it's I don't know. I like it. It adds the randomness to it, where you're not always having to like dig for stuff. It's more like I feel like watching, you know, like if you're like I feel like watching a mystery movie, and you just tune to your mystery movie playlist channel, and it's going through all your movies, and it's like you don't have to. You know what I'm saying when you do that thing on like Netflix and Hulu where you're sitting there looking at the lists and go, I don't know, is that going to be a good episode? But if you like tick the next channel button, and it's like flipping through the channels, like all of a sudden there's Murder, She Wrote, and it's like, oh hey, this looks like an interesting episode. Tick back and all the way start it over. Yeah, it's like you don't, or sometimes you just start watching it from whenever. Like you could, like for the longest time, I just watched, you know, Shawshank Redemption from whenever I caught it on TV until the end, and you know, it's like it's a magical power being able to rewind now, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, when you listen to music, do you usually turn on the shuffle button or whatever?
No, because I'm very particular about what I want to listen to. If I'm in the mood for something, I don't want to listen to whatever. So this is just a little bit
Or
different
like if
because
you
when
have a
it's
playlist
channels,
of classic, you don't shuffle that or whatever. You want to go to like a specific song that you know.
yeah, well, songs I usually specifically want to listen to a particular album or something specific. But with the channels
Right.
on the TV though, it's different because it makes you feel like you're watching a network, like somebody else has done it. Because if you've ever, I've done, college radio, I've done, internet radio streams with people. I've done stuff where you're in charge of a program, and therefore you have to decide, okay, we're gonna play this, and then a little bit of this, and then I talk a little bit, or then I play this clip here. And when you're in charge of that stuff, it's fun, but like you don't get to enjoy the programming because you're constantly always going, okay, what's next? Oh, I'm going to have a blank if I don't find something to come up next, and I have to fill in an hour here. And when you have
Exactly.
something doing it for you, it's a nice feeling, and it's also when it's content you want to watch. Like it's like it's like I really like this channel. If they played more of this show I like, well, now they can, and now you can control it and make it the way you want. So, yep. So,
This has been your adventure for this week, then.
yeah, this was this week's project. I'm not sure what all this week's project is going to be. I picked up recently one of those year at a glance calendars, which, it's 3 feet tall and 2 feet wide. So it's a pretty big calendar. And I went to Staples the other day when I was picking it out, and they had all the it's halfway through the year, so like they had all kinds of calendars half off, and please take this piece of crap. We don't and this one it has next year it's got 2015, but it's also got on the back of it the academic year. Oh, so it goes from July 2014 to June 2015. So it goes from the entire time I'm using it until June, and then I can just flip it over and go from June on. Man. So I can it's nice to be able to see like the entire month and how many months you've got, because when you've got the flipping calendar, you're sitting there going, okay, this is where I am, but when you get it all lined up in front of you and go, this is the deadline here. Oh, I can see the distance between here and there. That's not that far. I've got to do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I guess looking back from that episode that we did, like that one episode at the beginning of the year where we started the live shows, looking back then where we are now, we're pretty much we're past half of the year being over, aren't we now? So I mean, what?
Yeah.
Do you think you've accomplished things that you wanted to get done this year so far?
I'm getting there. I think I'm figured out. I'm happy enough with this summer right now, and I've got plans for what I'm going to do in the fall. And come Christmas, that's when I'm really going to decide if I'm satisfied with the year or not. Because there's, October, November, and December. Those are 3 solid months where you've got holidays every month, and there's stuff coming up, and it's stuff to do. Like right now is summer, and I should be getting used to the convention season, but I'm not doing any shows because I haven't produced enough content to really warrant it, and going to shows is more of an expense right now. So I'm trying to focus on making content and making stuff. So I've got projects, and I'm inching towards them. Like if I can finish the day and feel like okay, I moved closer to it. Like I don't feel like I got done with everything, because if you're doing like a week-long project, some days it's like I just want this to be done. Like when I was making this media center thing, it's like, okay, now I've got to install this and I've got to update that, and it's like, oh, it's 4 a.m. Well, oh man.
Yeah.
So did we want to move on to
I
trivia?
think it's funny.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll let you
Well, I
go
was
ahead.
just gonna say, I think it's funny how they're having like back to school sales and stuff everywhere on Amazon and stuff, and the summer's only half over.
Oh, when I was at Staples, there were kids going back and forth, I need to get a notebook, and I'm like, man, really? In July? I mean, I'm sure those parents are like, man, I cannot wait to get rid of them. I'm so looking forward to them being gone. I mean, I don't know, man. So, moving on to trivia time. Trivia time with
And we're at-
Ian.
Yeah, we're at the 2-hour mark here. Our goal was to not try to make the show like 4 hours, you know.
Well, no, because then they'll cut us off. So
Yeah.
let's do the end trivia. Yeah, trivia with Ian. Acha.
Okay, so
It's
what
Trivia with
kind of
Ian.
Trivia with Ian. If you've been listening to the show this whole year, hopefully I would hope that you would know that we've been doing trivia at the end of the show.
Yeah, we're doing trivia, and then we're coming for you, brother. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, what
Okay,
topic do you want to do the trivia for this week, Ian?
I don't know. I mean, I know we've done movies like last week or the week before, but it's just like, I mean, if we do movies again, that sort of goes along with the theme of, you know, like the pseudo TV
All
or
right.
whatever, you know.
Well,
Like
actually, doing
videos.
TV shows would go along with that, but all right, let's do movies. Movie trivia time with Ian.
Yeah. Actually, I should have done a television trivia, but I think that would actually probably be harder to find.
Well, it would also be harder to do because there's a lot of shows I just don't watch. So,
Yeah. Me
oops.
too. But yeah,
All right,
I'll
movie,
get it up.
movie
You
trivia.
entertain a little bit, Ben. Entertain.
It's time to play the trivia. It's time to yell at Ian. It's time to play the trivia on Trivia Time with Ian. Boom, boom, boom. Fun times. Hopefully,
let's-
when we leave, my music will finally work for the outro. Because I kind of miss our little intro music. It's kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It looks like the screen share is working. Hopefully Google is doing its job with that, you know, it looks like it.
I look down and I see the word semen, feces, and like, what? What are you doing, Ian? What's going on? Alright, so, we starting at the top? Okay, then.
Yep.
Alright, movie theater owners and the movie studios split the gross ticket receipts of the movies playing in the theaters. On the opening weekend of a new release, what percentage of sales do the theater owners typically get? 20%, 40%, 55%? What's that, Kitty? You think that's a
Kitty
bum
says
deal? I think so
55%.
too. 20%, 40%, 55%, or 70%? What cut of the thing do you think the theater owners typically get, Ian?
I think it would have to be pretty low. I mean, I would have to say like a 20%, you know?
Yeah, the cat's like 20%. That's low, man. Yeah, I'm gonna say like most the Apple Store when they sell apps, it's like a 70-30 split. So it's probably ow. Kitty does not like that percentage. So
I guess not.
I guess
Holy
not.
crap.
I'm gonna say the theater owners probably get 20. I wouldn't go any higher than 40, but I'm gonna say 20. So, what's the answer, Ian?
Yeah.
All right. So we both got that one. Because that's pretty slimmed if you're owning a theater, you know. But then again, they make most of their money on the concessions, so, you know, with the popcorn, with the butter-like substance. Butter-free butter.
Butter-like substance. Man, my parents, they love... I know we're getting off track here a little bit, but my parents, they love that spray butter or whatever because it's so easy. It's just like that's just so watery and nasty, man.
That's not real butter, though. But then again, movie theater butter isn't either, so... In Die Hard, how does Bruce Willis know that bad guy leader Hans Gruber is not an American? He hesitates when asked which state he is from. He says he has never heard of Sally Jesse Raphael. He holds his cigarette strangely. He smells like sausages. German sausages. I'm gonna say... Hesitates or... He never heard of Sally Jesse Raphael. I kind of remember Sally Jesse Raphael being mentioned in there, but I kind of think that state thing... It's been a while since I've seen Die Hard, okay?
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to say... Well, see, that wouldn't make any sense that if the guy's a terrorist leader, it's like, well, wouldn't you have an alibi? Wouldn't you have a story? So, I'm going to go with Sally Jesse Raphael, because hesitating on which state, that just sounds stupid. Like, what terrorist leader would not have a good cover? You know? What do you say?
I guess I totally forget. So I mean, I'm sort of tempted to go with the state thing, but I don't know. I'll just go with the state one. What the hell?
Yeah, that way we'll be a little bit different here.
Oh, cigarette holding.
I don't even remember him smoking in that movie.
How do you
hold your cigarette like a European?
Yeah.
Alright. Next question. What was in the beer that Stifler drank near the start of American Pie? Urine, feces, semen, or saliva?
This is me. Well, I mean, it was semen, wasn't it? that's what I would go with.
Well, I remember in the second one, it definitely was. They asked him how the pale ale was, but at the start of American Pie, it didn't say American Pie 2. Was there a urine beer? Because I know at one point he did drink pee. These are the detailed conversations we have during our show. I think he drank pee, but I'm not sure.
Actually, I'm going to switch mine and say,
I'm going to say
urine.
A is urine. I'm going to say the first one is urine, because I remember at one point, I'm going to say urine, because I know in the second one it was semen, so I think they probably... Alright. And watch it be...
Yeah, because then... Well, that one
oh,
guy
yeah,
was
he was
pissing
drinking,
off
like,
the balcony or whatever.
That was the second one, wasn't he? He's like, I got peed on.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so warm.
Okay, well,
all right,
let's see what
it
they
is.
said, I guess.
I'm pretty sure it was A.
No!
Well, then that question is wrong. That question is wrong, because that's the second one. Does he drink a beer with... Oh, wait. That happened... Well, wait. Which movie was it where he... It was maybe it was the first one, because there's that scene where he's with the girl, and she won't finish him off, and he finishes off into a beer cup. I don't know. So maybe it was American Pie 1. I'm so confused. There have been so many of those movies. And it's sad that I'm sitting here remembering these gross elements. Alright.
Yeah.
What's the term for a movie that is set in time before a previously released movie in the same series? Pre-make, remake, sequel, prequel. Well, that's prequel. That's what it is.
Yeah. So,
I kind of want to see a pre-make though. Wouldn't a pre-make be if you're just remaking it, but doing a prequel remake? I mean, I don't know. See, that's the thing.
A prequel remake. That's funny.
Well, we've seen a lot of. We've seen prequels are usually terrible because you can't change anything outside of the base story, and the reason they don't make the story that a prequel usually is first is because it's boring. That's why they started Star Wars on Episode 4 rather than 1, 2, and 3, because he thought those couldn't carry a movie, and lo and behold, It's like, why don't I'd like to see experimentation. I'd like to see a story not take place outside and not involve the characters, but play around and jump in and do stuff and kill everybody, and then they time travel back and I don't know, something weird. All right.
Yeah.
How was?
No, I was thinking. I was gonna ask, what would you think about a Blues Brothers remake?
Well, they
that would
already
go
did
over
No, I mean they did a Blues Brothers sequel, and most people were like, "Why did they do this?" I don't know. I don't know. The Blues Brothers is just a weird, it's one of those movies that like I don't think you can quite replicate that intentionally. That kind of just happened because of the people that were in that movie and at the time, like because at the time they thought they had a big train wreck, didn't they? So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, should I go see the first one? Because I've never seen like the original one.
I've heard really good things about it. I haven't seen it either. I've seen parts of it, like that big crazy car wreck. So.
Oh yeah.
All right. How was Dustin Hoffman tortured in The Marathon Man? Electric shocks to genitalia, rats in pants, bamboo shoots under fingernails, evil dentist.
Ooh, never saw it. I'll just go. That's hard, man. I'll just go. Rats and pants sounds funny, so I'll go with it.
Yeah, I'm kind of tempted to go with that one too, because I don't know. I don't think I saw that movie. I was thinking like I've seen The Running Man. That's not the same movie though. So I'm gonna go with should I go with Rats and Pants or should I go with Electric Shocks to Genitalia? Because then we'd have a little bit of difference here. I don't know. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Electric Shocks because I think as much as I like the idea of Rats and Pants, I'm gonna go. I think we should be a little bit different between the two of us.
Either way, it's not gonna look good for if he wants to have kids again, right?
Depends on where the rats go, I suppose. I've seen movies where they use rats to torture people, but I can't remember which one. So, go ahead, Ian.
Evil dentist.
Now come on, if Little Shop of Horrors can have it, that's not really that original. Be a dentist. Okay. In the Breakfast Club, how fast is the clock according to Carl, the janitor? Half hour, 15 minutes, 1 hour, 20 minutes.
Yeah, I saw the movie, but it's like...
It's been a long time since I've seen any of that movie.
The 20 minutes sounds like something, I guess. I don't know.
I'm going to go with half hour.
This is you.
I'm going to go with half hour.
Half an hour. Okay, so what am I going to go with then? Actually, I'll go with half an hour. So that'd be 15 minutes.
So you're going to go with B. And watch it be neither of those. Because that's our luck. 20 minutes.
I should have stuck with the 20 minutes. That's the second time.
That's what you get for trying to outdo me. Alright. What was Spike Lee's first film? School Days? Do the Right Thing? She's Got a Habit? Or Strictly Business? Okay. This is your turn first?
Yeah. I don't even know Spike Lee that well.
Me either, man. I know of his films, I just don't know anything about the order.
I'll just say School Days, I guess.
I think Do the Right Thing was, like, later in his career, so... either She's Got a Habit or Strictly Business. I mean, School Days sounds like it'd be a first, like, an early one where, whatever, that wasn't... I don't know.
Strictly Business. I would go between School Days and Strictly Business.
I don't know. I'm kind of tempted to say She's Got to Have It, so I'll go with that. C.
Yeah, gotta have it.
Just because it sounds like something weird where you're like, why? What does that mean? Why would that be in here? Why would that be his first film? But it's probably School Days. But go ahead.
Well, we'll see if she's got it. Ah, she does.
Oh yeah!
Good on you.
Stella got her groove back. Wait. I don't know. I don't know, man. Okay.
Oh, you're ahead by 1 point here.
What didn't we see in Road Trip? Ultra large sheath panties, French toasted pants, prostate massage, dog erection. What?
This is you.
This is I'm gonna say French toast and pants.
Okay, well, how long ago did you see that movie?
It's been a while, but I'm pretty sure that's the only thing that doesn't ring a bell for me.
Yeah, I'll just say that to you, actually. I'll go with you on this one. Probably
Oh,
tricking
you
me.
trust? Oh, if
Yeah.
only.
Oh, dog erection.
What? I thought, wasn't there a scene where the dog was humping somebody? I guess not. I guess French toast and pants. I'm gonna have to watch that movie again, I guess. Which is sad.
Yeah.
The guy who directed the romance Ghost also directed the comedy The Naked Gun. True or false? This is your turn, isn't it?
Yeah, it's my turn. I'm just thinking. This just seems like a question where why would they ask this if it wasn't true? So, I mean, I don't know why. But I'll just say true.
I'm going to say true as well, because I don't know, so I figured true would be better than nothing.
Alright. We'll see. Oh, it's false.
Boo! We're sucking on this test.
Bullshit.
Alright.
Straight
What
up
actor
bullshit.
What actor did not star in Harlem Nights? Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, Red Fox, Lawrence Fishburne. Harlem Nights. That's it. I don't think I've seen that one. Actor did not star in Harlem Nights. I'm gonna go with Red Fox.
Well, you're pretty sure Eddie Murphy is in there?
I'm not really sure of any of them, man.
Oh no, I'll just go with Richard Pryor.
Okay.
Just to mix it up.
And the answer is
Lawrence Fishburne. This is the third time I was originally thinking that, but gone with it.
what genetically tampered animals mutated into the dangerous monsters of 1997's Mimic? Wabbits, chameleons, octopi, cockroaches. Super anti-spyware, Ian.
Annoying.
Do 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 do.
Mimic. Never saw it.
Do 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 do. I don't think I saw that particular film, but I did see. Well, no, wait, I think I have seen that one. The problem is that there were so many movies at that time of, like, the sexy mutant alien killer chick, you know? And, you know, stuff like that. There were a lot of those. So.
Well, I'll just go with. I'm gonna go with Chameleon because I guess the movie they call it Mimic because they're able to mimic things. So there's like a chameleon or something. You know, I don't know.
Now see, See, you're making me think now, because I was gonna say wabbits because it was genetically, tampered, and they're in a lab, and rabbits are the most common lab things next to rats. But by the same
Right.
token, chameleons does make sense. Good question. I'm gonna go with chameleons, because I think I saw this movie. It was just I remember being so stupid that I kind of blank
Yeah.
it out. Like, I can't believe that actually happened. No. All right, so we're both
Right.
going with chameleons. What's the answer, Ian?
Okay.
Cockroaches. What? Okay. Which movie won the Best Picture award at the last Academy Awards? The Pianist, A Beautiful Mind, Chicago, The Hours. The last Academy Awards. Well, The Pianist was a few years ago. Beautiful Mind, I think, might have been before that. Chicago was a while ago. So I'm going to say The Hours.
Okay.
Although, then again, I don't know when this is. I'm assuming this is a recent question because that sounds like a recent answer. So I don't know.
Yeah,
could be totally
that's
full of
why
it.
I'm gonna try to go with a different question, and just so someone gets it right, because it's hard to tell which year this even was. Yeah. Okay, so I'll go with the pianist, I guess.
Well, that's a 12-inch pianist. Chicago? That was a while ago. Alright.
Yeah, it was.
The cowboy classic, The Magnificent Seven, was based on the Japanese classic, The Seven Samurai. True or false? True or false, Ian? Which is
I'll
it?
just go with false. I'll go with false.
True.
This would be. Okay then. Sounds like somebody's gonna get a point.
One of us has to.
You were right.
It was me!
So
Yes! Yes!
So-
Okay.
obviously, then you saw the movie.
No, I just know that fact. So,
So that
Yeah.
useless fact is stayed in your mind there for a while. That's interesting.
my facts are never useless, Ian. They're always good for pulling out and impressing the opposite sex. Hey, baby, did you know that the Wild West Classic... But Alright. In 1995 Species, how did the scientists come about creating the luscious non-human killer, Natasha Henstridge? Henstridge? Yes. Cut out photos from Playboy, fed them into computer scanner. Creating army weapon, added cat DNA. Found some whacked out stuff on the net. Received alien transmission. Oh boy. This is my answer. Well, I know number one is weird science. I'm gonna go with B. I think I also saw a movie with that plot. Like I said, I saw a lot of these movies back in the day, and they're all so stupid. So I'm gonna go with B.
I'm gonna go with D.
You sure on that one?
I mean, I'm
You're
pretty
just
sure.
taking it. All right. Let's find out.
Because I remember that being more of like an alien type thing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, Species was an alien thing. Yeah, I forgot. It's been so long since I watched those movies, because... who cares? Alright. What TV spot did Hong Kong maestro John Woo direct? Nike, soccer in airport. MasterCard, helicopter rescues spy from roof. Wendy's, where's the beef? NBA, I love this game. Well, clearly it's Wendy's, where's the beef, am I right? I mean... oh boy. I'm gonna say B, MasterCard.
I'll just say A, just because Nike is like, seems like they're everywhere, you know.
Alright, just do it, Ian. What's
Yeah,
the
I'll just
answer?
go with... But yeah, so I'll just say A then.
Alright, what's the
You're
answer?
gonna go with B?
I'm gonna go with B.
Yeah, it was Nike.
Boo! Boo! John Woo shouldn't be doing soccer. Well, now I'm just gonna have to be ruthless. Which of these movies wasn't directed by George Lucas? Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, The Phantom Menace, Trick Question, they all were. The D. I mean, well, I don't know. I don't know. I'll just say D. I don't know
Okay.
if he directed or just produced-ish. I don't know. I'm gonna say he directed them though.
Yeah, I'll go with D then too.
You don't
But the
want to
answer
lose
was-
the edge.
Jedi.
Jedi. He didn't direct that one, huh? Well,
Well,
that showed us that we're not big Star Wars fans. So, oh well. Next time we take a trivia quiz, we'll
You're
still
not-
forget.
you're not a true nerd, Ben.
Oh, I'm sorry. In
Fake
1994's adaptation of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, who played the woe-begotten man-made creature? Was I supposed to do the last one first? I don't know. Robert De Niro, Kenneth Branagh, yeah.
Oh, no,
Terry Hulk Hogan.
this is me. I'm sorry.
Terry Hulk Hogan. Or Trick Question: the monster was all CG animated. Which one was it?
I'll just go. I'm gonna go with that sweet weed, brother.
I think it was De Niro. So,
Okay. Well, let's see. So you're gonna go with A, I'll go with C.
alright.
Oh,
Oh,
got
yeah, brother.
ahead of me again. Damn you.
I'll see you in the
To
ring,
get ahead.
brother. Yeah. Which movie
That
featured
sweet
the
weed
quote,
betrayed me.
"There's one set for stun"? Star Wars, Star Trek, Independence Day, Event Horizon. I'm gonna go with Independence Day.
Well, I think I'm gonna go
Well,
with Star Trek.
Actually, now that you make me think about it, let's see. There's one set for stun. That sounds like something that would just be a standard Star Trek thing. See, Independence Day, I figure would be there was that guy that was thinking he was abducted by aliens, talking about aliens and talking Star Trek stuff. So I'm gonna go with I'll go with B, Star Trek.
I need to get me one of these.
I have got
Independence
to
Day.
get me one of these. That
Yeah.
movie, man, boy. I mean, it is a bad movie, but it's not bad. You know what I mean? It's like, well, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying. It's like 2012. It's like, it's a bad movie, but I'd sit and watch it. Day After Tomorrow is a bad movie, but I'd sit and watch it. Roland Emmerich,
But
he
is you
destroys
like
the
Men
world
in
real
Black
good.
better?
Which one?
No, well, just in general. I mean, you could choose
The
any
first
of them, I guess.
The first one was really good. I liked the last one better than the second one, because the second one was kind of, oh, really? Is that what we're doing? Alright. So, what was the answer?
Yeah. Star Wars.
Star Wars!
I was
And
pretty sure it
look
was
what-
Star Trek, man.
Look what you did. I mean, we both would have been wrong either way. Alright. Which
I
of
was
these
pretty
four
sure,
animal
man.
Which of these four animal attack movies featured A, flesh-eating animals which were the result of a government experiment gone wrong? Bats, Anaconda, Elmo and Grouchland, or Jaws? Okay, at least the guy making this one has a sense of humor.
Yeah. I'll go with the. Oh, well, this is you first, I believe.
No, I went first in the last one, remember?
Oh, yeah, that's right. No, you're right. You're right. Sorry. So sorry. I'll go with B, just the anaconda.
I'm gonna say A, bats. Let's find out which one it is.
I was thinking A.
I thought anaconda was a natural one, just like, you know, I don't know. We'll find out. What's the answer, Ian?
Oh, damn.
Oh, yeah! That's right, brother. I'm coming for you.
Listen to my instincts more. It's hard to read them, man.
Where did Tom Cruise use the shotgun-like weapon to blast people backwards on air cushions in Minority Report? The Precog Temple, nightclub, slum building, car factory. I don't remember. I'm gonna say... The slum building? I remember there being a slum building.
I'll just say the precog temple.
Alright, and the answer is...
Car factory.
Car factory. Do 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 ba do 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 do. Steven Seagal's first.
That's 20 of them.
Oh well, which one of us won?
Done, man. What?
1,
Oh.
6-4.
I really like that we came down together. We only all got half of the questions we just read between the two of us. Not hearing any music. One step beyond. That's right. Thank you, everybody. Today, I am like he's still man in the world. All right. So we're going on 2.5. I think it's about time to call it. Don't you believe so, Ian?
Oh, yeah, man.
All right. So
2.5 hours.
I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in this week, and we'll see you all on the other side. To find out more, visit NoRightsProductions.com. Follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/NoRights. And hey, why don't you check out my Tumblr at NoRights.tumblr.com.